Hello everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Miniart. It's a set in 1/35 scale and it copies Austin armored car in its Indian pattern. As you can see, it's a British service car, and this is a fresh release from Miniart. It comes as a September novelty, so we are going to take a closer look at what is included here. Kit number is 39021, you can see it's written here, and it's quite notable that model still stays as an interior kit, so we get all internals supplied in this nice box, and it might be an interesting build in a 1/35 scale. Of course, there are no figures included because we don't see them even on the box art, but still it won't be difficult to find something suitable. And today we are going to talk about this new release, and this is a final shape of it, so it means you will get exactly the same stuff as what you will see in this video review, and we are going to open it right now and check what is actually supplied. So box size is standard for this brand. Here is comparison with my hand, and here on the side you can see also some safety information and address of the manufacturer together with this barcode and QR code. On the other side you will see 4 marking options for this vehicle, and in my opinion this is more than okay for 1/35 scale kit. We'll check them closer when we will be looking into the assembly manual, because usually Miniart prints the marking guides there. As you can see, this is a top loading box, and all parts, all components there are packed into this one plastic bag. It's a sealed plastic bag, so I will have to cut through. And in the meantime, I can also remind you that you can support us with a small donation. It's quite easy thing to do because we have a PayPal account, so once you hit the big red button on our website, you will be redirected for the donation page. And of course you will be the one who will be deciding how much you will get for new photo and video equipment. And I think it might be an interesting opportunity for you to, let's say, help us get some new kits, or maybe even improve the photo and video quality by getting some new equipment. So now I'm opening the plastic bag, and I think you can hear it maybe. And there are not that many plastic spruce, I would say. Here we are going to start with this clear frame with decals in one plastic bag. It is sealed as well, so I'm cutting through it at the moment. And just give me a second to take them out. So first of all, I will show you decals sheet. So here it is. Let's zoom in as much as we can, maybe close the lenses. And now you can see that here we have a decals sheet from Decograph, so you shouldn't be worried about any printing quality issues. And we have 4 marking options, as you remember, so all these symbols will be handy. Note that we also have a full number registry, so you can copy some different vehicle if you would like to. This is a really nice, I would say, bonus from Miniart, which will be handy for some modelers. Next we continue with this clear frame, so this one is, I would say, quite nice looking thing. And of course, just like in any other Miniart set, we do not have masks included. So if you would like to get a nice paint work on these parts, you have to cut all the stickers with your own hands and tools. Be ready for that. And it might require some, let's say, due care, because as you can see, some of them are really tiny, I mean these parts, so you will have to pay attention. Next we continue with this small envelope with Miniart logo, so usually it is used for PE fret, and this kit is not an exclusion. So here we have unpainted PE fret with all necessary components. And note that these parts, they will be used not only for let's say external equipment or external features, they will be used also for internal stuff. So be ready with some special tools, because otherwise it will be really tricky to handle all this stuff with bare fingers, because as you can see, these parts are really tiny, even though they come in 1/35 scale. Next we proceed with a gray plastic spruce. So we are going to start with this one. It's actually the one of the biggest frames in the kit, so we are going to zoom out a bit. And here you can see it. Maybe I'll open the lenses a bit more. So here we have, let's say, hull panels for this vehicle. Here you can see, for example, side panels. We also have wheel fenders here and some interior parts, for example, floor panel here. Everything looks good, so I can zoom in so that you can see it with your own eyes. I wouldn't say that we have some, I would say, serious issues here. It's just a matter of careful assembly and you will be good to go. Note that some rivets are pre-molded, but you will have to install some of them separately and you will see it further in the video review. Here, by the way, you can see that there are some assembly options for opening the, let's say, hatches, doors, which were, let's say, openable on the real vehicle. And that's a really cool touch from Miniart because it will be handy for diorama builders. And it will be also handy in order to expose what is actually hidden inside, because otherwise it will be just enclosed in the hull. Here we continue with interconnection between sprues. Maybe I'll open the lenses even more, so let's zoom in. Here we have a lot of small and thin parts, and for these thin parts I would rather recommend to be extra careful because they're easy to break, and then you will have to either fix them or replace them completely with some metal wire. I know some modders just don't bother with this and they replace it straight away, but I mean, if you are careful enough, you will get a nice result. Here you can see also some parts for the rear wheel fenders and also for the storage boxes. And also it is easy to see the guiding elements inside these panels. Okay, so I will place this one aside. And we continue with two identical plastic sprues. So here they are. I will show you only one because they carry the same parts, obviously. And here, if I zoom in, you can see that we have some interior parts for the turret. And we also have rivets. And this is not an, let's say, mistake. Here you can see these small rivets, which you will have to cut off this frame, this sprue, and place them on the vehicle. This will be a bit tedious procedure. You will see how it is done in the assembly manual, but still I know some modders which tried it and they were just like, yeah, I won't be doing it, and they did not place all of this, let's say, rivets. So be ready for that. Maybe you can find some decal rivets which will be a bit easier to place. Separate sprue is dedicated to headlamps. So here they are. They look somewhat okay, I would say. Here you can see also on the rear side we have all necessary attachment points. So it's a nice thing to have out of the box. Next we continue with two identical plastic sprues with wheel parts. So here they are. I will show you only one because there is no need to show the same stuff as usual. So here you can see that each wheel should be glued out of several plastic parts, and that's really cool because we don't have to work with the vinyl parts, and such stuff will be definitely way more realistic looking and easier to paint and weather than standard vinyl elements. Next we continue with machine guns, which will be placed in the turrets. So they're also the same, let's say. So here you can see these machine guns and they look quite nice. And frankly speaking, as far as I remember, they should be visible through the openable hatches. So it might be a good idea to play with some weathering and painting techniques on these parts. Next we continue with side panels for the hull. So again we have, even here we have separate doors and hatches. So you can open this hatch, you can open this door, and that would allow you to display what is hidden inside the vehicle, because we have full interior model. So do not be lazy, try out these assembly options, at least the separate hatches, because it will give you a bit, let's say, more engaging look of your model. Next we continue with turret parts. So here we have pretty much the same situation. So as you can see, there are two hatches which will be molded separately and they can't be opened. So that's really cool thing, as I said before. And last but not the least is another large sprue. And here maybe we start with a zoomed in view and then we zoom out. So here we have also some parts for the interior. We have engine, and this is really cool that engine is included out of the box. Here, by the way, you can see this engine block. Here we continue with more engine parts and also some Pioneer tools, leaf springs, suspension elements, and mainframe bars. All this stuff will be used. Here, by the way, you can see this mainframe or chassis bars. Here is the radiator grill, and all these parts look clean enough, even though they're not that, let's say, big. And here you can see comparison with my hand. So do not underestimate these elements. Even though model comes in 1/35 scale, it is still relatively small. So it will require some, let's say, necessary skills in order to handle such tiny bits. And here we continue with assembly manual. So this one comes in a form of color printed brochure. So once again, kit number is 39021. Here we continue with two marking options. So these are two gray vehicles, and as you can see, they come from January 1923. It's British Tank Corps, Royal ones, of course. Next we continue with one more marking option from 1920s. This one comes in a sand color. And next we see the parts map. So as usual, Miniart does not show on parts map which parts are not used, so pay attention to which ones you are using with your vehicle. We start with assembly of the main chassis, then we continue with engine assembly, and as I said before, engine should be quite detailed, so it might be a good idea to open the front armor panel in order to expose the engine in the vehicle. So here we install all this stuff on the main chassis. We continue with radiator grill and also various control elements for the driver, so it means pedals and steering column. Here we assemble wheel axles. I'm just a bit confused that it should be assembled out of several parts. So we assemble wheel axles, front and rear. We start installing the armor panels, the small ones first. Here we continue with road wheels. So as I said before, each road wheel should be glued out of two parts. And as you remember, we have quite, I would say, detailed guidance system, so it will be difficult to assemble everything in a wrong way. Next we continue with floor for the turrets. And there are also some assembly options for open or closed bonnet. Here we continue with driver and passenger seat, if we can say so. We assemble the main shell, and note that this shell is assembled separately. By the way, here you can see the placement of the rivets, which I was saying just few minutes before. So all these rivets will have to be cut off and placed on the vehicle. Be ready for that. And this might be a bit tedious procedure, of course. Next we continue with two more assembly options. So here you can open this hatch, here you can open another hatch, and I guess here you can open this door, side hatch. This is really cool that we have that many assembly options. They will be handy in order to expose all internals. And of course you can also use them in order to place some figure inside. The same applies for this front panel of the engine. And then note that whole armor shell is installed on the chassis. Here we continue with more parts from the side. So these are actually machine gun bullets. And I can see that we use PE parts for various clamps on the vehicle. This is quite unusual, I would say. Here we start working on the machine guns, which will be installed in the turrets. There are also assembly options for the top hatches on the turrets, as you remember, so here you just install them on the vehicle. Next we have quite detailed colors chart with various manufacturer paint numbers, and the fourth marking option, this one comes from 1920s. Here we continue with unpainted, let's say, view of this vehicle, so you can see where PE parts will be actually used. This is quite interesting take, let's say. Next we have also small ad for other kits or other versions of this vehicle, which are also quite interesting. So if you would like to copy them or you would like to check them, we have a video review on our YouTube channel, and we have also build report about this vehicle, so it's also worth checking because the whole project from Sergei Kovalov itself is quite interesting. As for today's release, it should be already available, so you can get it in any good model shop, for example in Modelimex. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about such a release. Do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye!